let the owner of the bed and breakfast into the room. So it's you have the applicant from the Ransom Inn for their public hearing to renew their bed and breakfast permit from the Board of Trustees.
Okay, Barbara is coming in as we speak.
I think it's either Barbara or Dan, correct?
It's listed as Barbara, so we'll see when she turns on her camera and unmutes.
Can you hear me? There I am.
Hello, Dan.
Hi there. It says Barbara, but obviously it's not.
Okay, nope, doesn't look like Barbara. Okay, so then we have your application as amended to renew your bed and breakfast there on East Broadway. I think it's very self-explanatory. You know, I think there was an issue with the application as originally submitted with respect to the room above the garage.
Right.
And I think that, you know, I think we're all clear now that without a proper CO, that room cannot be included under the license or the use for the bed and breakfast. Okay.
I've taken it off my website. I've taken for this, I've taken no reservations all year. I have one guest all year, waiting for this and also waiting for the pandemic and surgeries and stuff. But I understand it'll be the two rooms that we have in the house that are on the application. Okay.
Also, we see, Dan, that your floor plan was stamped by Mr. Miller, architect Eddie Miller.
Yes.
Is that that's a current floor plan, and Ed's still licensed as an architect in the state of New York?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I don't have any other questions. Does any other board members have any questions or concerns to address? No. Okay. Is there anyone from? You know, I know that there was no the building planning department did find that there was never any complaints or, you know, so usually this is a rote exercise, but when we saw that the original application
they had made
conflicted with the website,
buildings and grounds,
we came back.
The buildings and grounds a building department had made two recommendations. They wanted me to put a banister on to go into the basement, which we did. And they wanted me to change the position of two of the smoke detectors, which I did. Okay. And they came and they saw it and, you know, all that.
Okay. So no other questions from or concerns from the Board of Trustees, correct? Just shake your head or let me know that you're hearing me. Okay, yeah. Thank you. All right, so Teresa, do we have anybody in the audience that wants to make a public comment? Is there anybody listening?
I don't see anybody with their hand raised, but I also just want to point out that we're having trouble with YouTube. It's not going live to YouTube. I've tried it 2 times and it's stuck trying to go to the stream. So we'll try and get the rest of the meeting posted later for those that can't currently view it on YouTube. I'm trying again to get it going.
Okay. But we are recording, correct?
Yes, correct. And I do not see anyone with their hand raised.
Okay, well, because they can't see the meeting.
Well, okay. Anybody that's in the webinar, we do currently have attendees in there and nobody has raised their hand.
Okay. Lorraine, are you okay?
You're fading in and out. Did you get? Yeah, and there's a delay in when you're speaking, but we're getting it, but it's a little difficult. I don't know why. We've never had that problem before.
Okay,
and you're coming across perfectly.
Streaming.
Okay. For me, you're coming across perfectly.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Dan. Brian, are you good with this?
Yep.
Mr. Egan?
Yep. That's all, Mayor. Thanks. I just wanted to clarify again. That was the original application was for 3. I've had conversations with Dan and straightened out that issue, and I appreciate his comments on the record tonight that it is only to 2, and that the other building above the room above the garage will not be occupied and not be subject to the permit. So the permit approval or renewal, I should say, under 250-57G is only for the 2 bedrooms in the house.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Thank you, Dan. That's all. Mayor, with no other public comments, you can move to close the public hearing.
Okay, so motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second that motion.
Seconded by Trustee Laux. All in favor to approve the special use permit? The bed and breakfast permit, I should say. Sorry. Okay, thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Yep, be well.
Bye-bye.
Can you tell me if Bruce is in the meeting yet?
He is not in yet.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so Brian, you want to talk a little bit about number 2, why we're looking at amend this code, please? Section 250-41.
Yep, sure thing. So 250, thank you, Mayor. 250-41 is a provision that allows what's called sunsetting of non-conforming uses. And essentially it provides the amortization of non-conforming uses in certain areas. Non-conforming uses are when a change of zone happens that a previously existing use now is illegal or unpermitted inside that zone. And what the scheme for zoning is to allow those non-conforming uses to amortize, to disappear. And you have to give a certain amount of time for that amortization to happen. The village code allows, very well intended, and again, cutting edge planning, was to allow 20 years after the effective date of this chapter or 40 years after the initial construction, provided there was some other conditions on it, to allow the amortization. And when you got to that time frame, that non-conforming use had to stop. The rub, the concern, is that when you have a non-conforming use, you have a vested property right in continuing that non-conforming use. So if you don't change it, expand it, or do anything that would intensify the non-conforming use, the courts have said constitutionally you're allowed to continue that as a vested right. And there were some, and there is one example that was brought to the mayor's attention on a sale for a building that had existed since 1947 with no complaints. I mean, older than us. And now they're past their sunset period and that use would have to change. So what the proposal or the request from the planning department, and the mayor is going to work with our office in drafting an amendment to this termination of the non-conforming use to make this more equitable for people who have legitimate continuing non-conforming uses and allow them to continue them as opposed to an arbitrary sunset on those uses. And you think 40 years is a long time. The example that we have is almost 70 years old and still hasn't ended or caused any intensification of the non-conforming use. So they went through 40 years in a blink of an eye, and now we should give an opportunity to look at this so it doesn't have any unintended consequences, Mayor.
Yeah. Okay. So an example of an expansion of a non-conforming use would be if somebody came along and said, I'd like to put an addition on this building and expand that non-conforming use. So just to be
Correct.
clear, that would not be prohibited. That would not be permitted.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So again, this is a building that is for sale, and the use of the building is packaged into that transaction. I don't know if it's fair to disclose the property because it is under contract.
Yeah.
But the purchaser of the building came forward and said, we don't understand what a non-conforming use is and the sunset provision, and we intend to continue to use this property as it exists. And could we be a little bit more clear? And when we're looking at it, we're like, yeah, this doesn't make any sense to us whatsoever. So the amendment will allow us to, discontinue non-conforming uses that we do not believe are in, I think you and Chris were kicking around like tanneries and, some of the non-conforming uses are, things that don't even exist right now in terms of businesses that, would be even likely to open in our village. So we need to definitely scrub and update this code.
Right. And also I think that not that we want to throw the baby out with the bathwater on these properties that are functioning, but it is very rare that a non-conforming use continues without a change. Usually someone wants to intensify a non-conforming use. They have a one-story office building, they want to add a second story. They have, I'm just using these as random examples. They have a gas station, they want to add additional pumps. That's an intensification of a non-conforming use. That would be prohibited. So the non-conforming use has to stay to fit in the category that we're going to allow, not have a sunset, but has to continue without any change. And again, that's a very, very rare circumstance.
Right. So, so to go back to my example, if somebody came before the planning board and they were expanding the building for the non-conforming use, would the non-conforming use be something that would be granted as permissible to extend, or is that
potentially based on a percentage of size and the impact on the intensification?
Right.
You could get a zoning board a variance for that, sure.
Okay.
But what this is going to do is this is going to essentially eliminate that outside time frame that's just an arbitrary guillotine on the use. And I do think it was very well intended. It was very popular in planning circles to put this on. And this is forethinking to do that. But now here we are 40 years later, and it is like there are sometimes unintended consequences, because who would think there would be a non-conforming use that would continue for almost half a century without a change?
More than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So we're going to put the proposed amendment on for public hearing on July 6th. And by that time, I'll be able to have a little bit more of a conversation about the specifics of why we're looking at changing this code.
Right. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Thank you. Number 3.
Excuse me, you approved the minutes of June 7th? Everybody approves that?
Oh, thank you, Barbara, for keeping me in line. Any comments, additions, amendments to the minutes?
No, I've looked them over. They look good.
Thank you, Barbara.
You're welcome.
Number 3 is we were approached by the press organization a few weeks ago. Brian Egan, myself, and Stan had the opportunity to have a Zoom meeting with what will be the new proprietors. Initially, I think the Crest organization was looking for a partner to help them. They suffered greatly through the COVID pandemic. My understanding is they were losing upwards of $1 million a month. So it is, I believe, sometimes a miracle that some of the larger establishments that got really impacted with the COVID pandemic survived. The proposed new operators are a closely held family company from the Rhode Island area. We sent you some of their materials on properties that they currently own along the New England seacoast, waterfront resort type properties. I really feel that they are going to be a tremendous asset to this community. They are looking at making a substantial investment into the Danfords Marina property, which has nothing to do with us, but that package also includes the license agreement to operate the country club. We have spoken with them about keeping on the management staff at our facility at the country club, and how important it is that we work very closely together, that we think we've turned a major corner in getting our turn back and our residents and membership happy with the service at the restaurant. They're just now opening up their doors to get parties back into the catering facility. We also feel that the restaurant there could use, more additions to the menu. And these people seem to be completely on board with us. And I was really, really pleased with that meeting. And Stan, if you want to comment as well, please value your input.
Well, I was very, very impressed with their presentation. Also impressed with their assets.
Yes.
They seem very, very solid. And I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Yeah, I have a family member who is in the hotel industry with Hilton, and I kind of checked them through the back door, and the company is heavily funded, very, very secure. I think they're going to bring a nice New England touch, and I'm more than comfortable with this. One of the conditions is that they are making us whole on the arrears. I guess Crest had some trouble making payments through the pandemic. There is a forbearance agreement, but they are making us whole. They will be paying the village back $102,000. That's a condition. So I will only approve and sign the assignment once we have collected that check. Denise, you're going to keep me posted. And Brian, you're going to continue to work on that with the legal counsel, correct?
Yes, I confirm that, Mayor. That number is correct, and they are going to make 100% payment condition of the board's assignment if they're willing to do it today.
Also, they operate out of Rhode Island. Next time I go back to my birth city of Fall River, I am going to go meet them personally. And I think actually our mothers may have gone to the same high school. So we have some strong Southern Massachusetts, Rhode Island connections. And again, I think that they're a great fit, and I'm looking very much forward to working with them. Do any board members have questions about that? Okay. Number 4, and I guess 4 is new hires for Country Club, correct, Barb and Stan?
Yes, someone at the pro shop.
Okay. I'm sorry, that's number 4, right? Number 5, Lisa Yeager has her certification in animal rescue. I'd like to sort of put her up on our Facebook page or in our website as somebody that our population, our residents can reach out to. I've had some personal connections with somebody who saw a baby fawn get hit on East Broadway, put to the curb, person 3 cars back, saw the event. I gave them Lisa's number immediately. She was on the scene within seconds. Same thing about a bird up in Belterre. She and Erica could do work together. And I think that there's just a tremendous need in the animal rescue business these days. So I'd like to, appoint Lisa as our official village animal rescue representative. And I'd like her information to get up on our website so people can know who to call. Comment on that. No? You guys are really quiet today. Okay.
We did our homework. Did our homework, Mayor.
What?
We did our homework.
What's that?
We did our
okay. Okay. We have the Port Jeff, the Harbor Education and Arts Conservancy, otherwise known as just the Conservancy, is rescheduling the hill climb, the bicycle hill climb, which I think is fantastic. With August 29th with a rain date, asking us to waive fees. Did they submit an application fee, Joe or Barb?
They did not. They're asking to have the fee waived.
Did they fill out the application properly?
Yes, they did, and I attached it.
Okay, and how many code officers do you think we're going to need? Did they say?
They did not say that. They'll have to meet with Fred.
Yeah, okay. What do you guys think?
They're requesting that the road be, excuse me, they were just requesting that the road be shut from 8:30 to 11 on that day.
East Broadway.
And I believe there's 3 sides.
Right, 3 side
Right.
streets too.
High, Bleecker, and Grant.
How does insurance come into play there? Do they provide their own, or is that covered under ours?
That I'm not sure if the Conservancy is covered under ours.
Did you ask Joe that question?
Whoever.
Well, our application should have the insurance requirements listed in it, and they should submit the insurance pursuant to that agreement that we have or application.
Okay, well, the Conservancy is the sole organization whose mission is to help raise monies and funds for Harper Fun Park and the Village Center. I would like to understand what the impacts are in terms of the number of code, in terms of shutting down the streets. So let's just see what that means. And, otherwise I'm gonna approve the event in spirit and waive the administration fee. Let's see what the code impact is and how many officials we think we're gonna need. And they are,
And we'll double check the insurance requirements as well.
right, because usually you also put it on the organization to notify the, the residents on these streets, or send out a postcard like we do for the brewery when they had their run. So I need to know what level of cooperation we have from them in terms of.
The
I
Conservancy
believe they
says
notified.
yeah, the Conservancy, I'm sorry, the Conservancy will notify all of the residents of all of the streets.
Okay, are you guys in the same room?
We are.
When Fred returns, I'll work with him for this event and how many code officers he thinks he needs.
Okay, so how do the rest of the board feel about that?
That's good. I'm good with that.
Okay, I just, because I guess we're not having the vehicle hill climb then, or did we already approve the hill climb for vehicles?
I think they both have been approved. The date is on the calendar. I don't know. I don't have the application yet. The regular hill
For
climb
what?
was put on the calendar for the 14th of August.
So we're gonna have, okay, so let's just be careful about this, guys. We're gonna have our streets closed down on August 29th for the bicycle hill climb, and they're also gonna be closed down the same month for a automobile hill climb.
Well, I don't have that application yet. When the calendar, the global calendar was organized, that date was submitted. I don't have the application yet.
Okay, all right. So we'll do the bicycles first, but I think one of the things, people are saying is, our streets get closed down a lot for Mather walks and this thing, and, so we have to be really careful of the impacts, okay?
The Mather Walk did not take place this year because of COVID.
Right, thank you.
Well, it's interesting because I know the bicycle hill climb is being proposed as an annual event, but the motor hill climb is once every 5 years, I believe.
That's correct, yeah.
So it would feel like a whammy this year, but I know the motor hill climb, I think it was supposed to be last year, but was postponed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2020.
It was.
Yeah, so that's why I was saying I don't know if they're officially doing the automobile hill climb again.
I know I saw a flyer for it.
Yeah, I did too, but I don't remember approving. That's why I'm saying, it's going to be hard for that really local community to have those streets closed down, within a month.
What's the date of the auto hill climb?
Nobody can tell me.
It's on the calendar.
August 14th on the calendar.
And then a week later, they're doing bicycles?
No.
29th is the date for the bicycle.
I mean, I'm not sure how I feel about that, guys. What do you think? Barbara, can you do me a favor? I know you're going away tomorrow. Can somebody check with the Conservancy and see if the automobile climb is still on for the 14th?
Yes,
or
I
if
will.
this bicycle climb is now in lieu of. And I just want to table this. I want to table this motion until I know.
Certainly.
To clarify, this is a Sunday, the 29th?
Yes.
Yeah, the hill climb for the bicycles, they're looking for Sunday the 29th.
I would see a problem with that with the farmer's market on Sunday. Is that the same?
Yes.
Is that the same hill?
Yep.
Yeah. Yes,
it
that's
is.
the same hill.
The same hill?
Yeah, and the same park and so I think we need a little bit more coordination.
Yeah, I remember speaking to someone coordinating the motor hill climb, and we were talking about it casually and talking about Saturday or Sunday, and I just said Sunday would probably be a no-go because of the farmers market has become so incredible and popular that blocking off that street on a Sunday would probably be mayhem.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing.
Have they considered other streets like Myrtle Avenue or Stony Hill? Well, Stony Hill's not that long, but Myrtle would be.
I can tell you myself, Myrtle's quite a climb.
It is. I used to live there.
It's a slow, hard ride. Let's just adjourn until we can get some more information on that. So we're going to postpone voting on number 6 for the time being. Okay, folks?
Yeah.
Lifus has made a request, I believe, and we can make this subject to as well, that right now the restrictions have not been really lifted for the before and after day school programs and or nurseries. Barbara, is that how this motion came to us, correct?
Yes, that request came from Lisa Perry, correct?
Right. So if they are able to go back to whole numbers in September, so I'd like to make this a conditional grant.
Okay. So if occupancy is back at 100%.
We go back to the $40 an hour.
If occupancy is allowed or if they reach the occupancy in number?
Occupancy is, they've never had challenges filling this program. So the reason why they were asking for the relief is because of the COVID restrictions on the number of participants. So therefore, they couldn't add those additional children and, to pay the overhead.
Got it.
they didn't think it was fair to raise the prices. That hurts the rest of our resident families. Okay, Joe, you're gonna go walk us through 8, I guess 9 and 10, right?
Yes. So I'll speak to 8 and 9 collectively. So I would present to the board the approval and award of Wellsback Electric to perform street lighting and exterior electrical work services to the village, and for interior electric work to Anthem Electric. This bid was issued several months ago. We had discussions and looked at other opportunities that may have existed out there. After considerable research and due diligence and meetings with the various parties, we have concluded that Wellsback is the best fit for the village. They've been working here in the village for many years, and looking at the pricing schedule that they put together for us in this proposal. It is lower than most of the others that we have received or have seen, including those with the town and the county. If you look at the town or county schedules, the schedules that they provide are basically for a electrician, as well as equipment, as well as trucks, and everything adds up from there. This is a complete cost that includes their equipment, as well as their trucks and their hourly rate. The question before the board, however, is whether you want to enter into a 1-year contract with these two entities or 3. My recommendation would be for a 3-year. You can see here that Wellsback is $112 per hour for the first year, $113 for the second, and $114 for the third. So it's only $1 per hour increase per year for Wellsback. And for Anthem, it is $90 per hour for each of the 3 years. Any questions about 8 or 9?
Oh, thank you, Joe.
With respect to item number 10, this is to award the DPW expansion contract to the Patriot organization. We received 7 proposals from 7 different companies. As I explained at our last meeting, they ranged from $500,000 up to $979,000. We leveled the bids. We vetted the bids with our engineer, J.R. Holtzmacher, and made a determination that Patriot Organization was the lowest responsible bidder, and present to you for them to be awarded this contract. Any questions about number 10?
No, it's just unfortunate that, the lowest bidder, although there was a lower bidder.
Correct.
It wasn't the most responsive bidder, because they need to supply their paperwork. So in lack of supplying all the paperwork and correctly providing all the information, that cost $80,000, correct?
That is correct. In this instance here, we do have some room to work with contractors and vendors upon submission. And in this case, it was insurmountable to work with this particular vendor at this particular time, based off of the information that they provided as part of their proposal. So we had to move to the next one.
Nope, thank you. That's how important it is to, make proper submissions. Barbara's number 11 is a training session for Barbara to attend the New York State Clerks Institute, the virtual classes. Keep getting your education, Barb. I know you get it well and you bring it back to us. So we're always here for enrichment. We always support our staff for training. This is something we need to do for the New York State retirement system, right? Declare these work hours or work day work hours for the weeks for the
Yeah, for our
electeds,
elected
correct?
officials, it's housekeeping. They need resolutions. So I will submit it once it's approved.
Okay, thank you. What is, I'm just gonna ask you in that, what is standard workday and what does record of activity mean alongside of that?
So based upon the 3-month period that they requested from each of you individually and submitting what work was done for the village during that time, they make the calculation and they respond. And that's how it's calculated for the time period that they requested to calculate your day's work.
So why aren't the other trustees?
Everyone gets contacted by the, any elected official gets contacted directly from the retirement system.
No, I understand that. So, but shouldn't we be doing this for the other trustees as well?
It's staggered.
The retirement system will request it from the other elected officials.
Okay, all right.
Barbara, I never did receive that. I know you had asked me about that a while ago, and I said I would wait to see if I got it. I don't have anything from them.
And I checked with them. They did not send you yours yet. So
Oh.
you will get one, but I assumed you would have gotten one since Margot got one and you were on the same elected year.
Got it.
Is that something that's done every time you're elected, Barbara? Or
No.
I don't see any regularity really in how they send it, but they send it to your homes. They don't send it through me.
okay, very good. Well, it was my favorite thing to do, so I hope that we get to do it often.
Stan didn't get one
Okay.
either.
Stan didn't get one. He's been doing it 6 years. I've been doing it 12. It's the first time I've got one, but that's okay.
So I got really lucky then.
Yeah, we got jackpot. We have some new hires for beach attendants for East and West Beach, correct? These are all new hires, or do we have returns here?
Their returns, some are lifeguards, some are camp counselors.
All Port Jeffersons.
Oh, we have one Stony Brook, but
One
that's
Stony
okay. I think lifeguards are a little bit more difficult to find these days, anyway. So again, thank you for hiring our Port Jeff kids. I'd like to talk a little bit about, you know, what I'd like to see them doing this year. But that's a conversation apart. And I went through the warrants as presented by Treasurer Mordente and signed off on by our internal auditor, Mr. Carlson. I didn't see any questions or concerns. Denise, did you have any comments that you'd like to make?
No, the capital, we have the retaining wall payment in there. That's why that looks so high. And basically everything else we're just still doing year end. So that's why it's, we have end May 31st and then June's regular bills.
When do you think you'll have the end of year finalized?
The auditors come Monday. So all next week will be with them. So then after that.
Okay, great, thank you. So we're gonna table the I think it's number 6. I will make a motion to approve 1 through 14.
I'll second.
Do I have a second? Trustee Staden seconds. All in favor? Aye. Have we been able to contact Mr. Miller? I think that ship has sailed.
Yeah, he's still having trouble getting on. I suggested he try a different device, but I haven't seen him on yet.
Okay. Okay, it's just, you know, go through my topics really quickly. My entire day tomorrow is going to be focused around speaking to our county, state partners about what's not happening down here in the village and happening down here in the village. I did not anticipate, having to speak out on another event that we suffered on Friday night. And I'm deeply disturbed by what happened. And I'm just thankful that one of the 2 individuals that was shot was not, they're both still with us, thanks to the swift actions. I will, for the record, tell our board all at the same time. My understanding of the course of events, our code bureau, there were 4 men on duty that night. They were extended hours till 2 a.m. This is the first weekend that they extended till 2 a.m. Whiskey Tour was here. The 2 Suffolk County police officers, I am told, were bringing a psych evaluation patient up to Maffra Hospital to admit them to the hospital. When that is done, it does require two officers to be together to protect one another. However, that left no Suffolk County presence down in the village of Port Jefferson. That's something I will be addressing with Inspector Riley tomorrow morning. Four officers were just about to enter Village Hall. They had convened behind the Village Hall, getting out of their vehicles when they heard the shots. They jumped back in their cars. Chief Blue directed them as to how to approach the scene. They saw the two victims down. Officer Murdaco jumped out of the car, took his belt off, and used his belt as a tourniquet around the leg of the young one man who was shot in the leg. And then a proper tourniquet was put on. As they waited for the ambulances, I am told that they were concerned about the wellness of this individual and put him in the back of the code vehicle and sent him on his way to Stony Brook University Hospital. I believe an EMT that was present at one of the local establishments came out and helped the other victim until the ambulance came and stayed with him until he got to the hospital. And I think, but for the quick response of the Code Bureau and the other people on site, we may have lost two young people in this incident. The shooter was arrested within 48 hours. They did hear the vehicle start. They heard the vehicle and could give the pattern of the flight of the vehicle to Suffolk. I think they identified the shooter that evening, but it took a while to apprehend. But I'm very concerned about what's happening down in this village after 12 o'clock. There's no doubt about it. I want to be looking at an escort service for our kids that are working down here at these establishments. I believe Code is going to be expanding their hours now until 6 a.m. We're going to try and get a shift that starts at 10 p.m. to go to 6 a.m. And we just need more Suffolk police presence. I know they're down here during the daytime when everybody's having a beautiful time. That is not the hour. I believe that we need heavy duty Suffolk County police. I think we need them here from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. I'm going to be speaking to the governor's office and my state representatives about a home rule curfew. And I'm going to be talking to the state liquor authority that they better be down here and they better be doing their job. Because I'm going to tell you, if I find out that anybody's serving underage kids after hours, we will have zero tolerance. I will be speaking with my attorney, Mr. Egan, about cabaret licenses and the fact that when these restaurants close their kitchens and they're only serving alcohol, what teeth I have in my code that I can go after them. But I'm going to tell you folks right now, this is about community, and community needs to protect community. And I'm going to tell you right, when I grew up, there was that channel commercial that came on the channels. It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? Well, folks, it's 12 o'clock midnight. Do you know where your kids are? They should not be down here drinking after hours. Just telling you that right now. Get them home safely. Let them, do whatever they need to do before 12 o'clock. Do not let them come down here and be served. You know they have fake IDs. Take them away. It's because we're all in this together. That's all I can say to you. I'm going to make sure that if the SLA is giving out liquor licenses, that they also require ID machines that can read and determine a fake ID from a real ID. I mean, there's got to be tools that they have in their tool belt. There is just no way that we can have standing room only bars packed down here until 4 a.m. I just don't even understand what good that does anyway. So I am furious. I'm on the job, and I've never seen anything like this in 12 years. And I'm going to hope and pray that this doesn't happen again on my watch. But you know what? Kids have guns. 20-year-old had a gun in his hand. Instead of having a fisticuffs in the parking lot, they're using knives, they're using guns. Another reason to not be down here. So we're going to do everything in our power to keep our village safe, but most of this goes way above our pay grade here as Board of Trustees and Mayor. These are county issues, these are statewide laws and ordinances, and I'm going to do my best to partner with my state and county partners and see what changes we can make. I know my good friend Paul Pontieri on the South Shore is equally concerned about, things that are happening there after hours. So Paul and I had a good conversation this morning, and he's completely on board with whatever we can do as partners and get other villages to sign on. There are not that many villages that have central business districts like we do. Most of them are, head of the harbor, Nisupog, Popot, Belterre. They don't deal with what we're dealing with. But we need Suffolk County down here. I'm going to make that very clear. I do not want to have another incident like this again. I'm not going to say that this stuff doesn't happen. It happens. But you got to be here. You got to have a presence with us, especially on these nights. That's all I have to say about that. Does anybody else want to comment? Okay. No? My next thing, and how I thought I was going to start this meeting off, was a thank you. But I still want to thank everybody for your hard work for the last couple of years, and for the residents for having faith in this team. And, we're here, we work hard, we do a great job together. I couldn't have asked for a better executive board. I couldn't ask for better partners at a board of trustees. Guys, we are working every single day. We are making decisions by the hour. We are involved in this community. We are not showing up at meetings and just making decisions. We're doing a heck of a lot more than that. So I want to say thank you to everybody here. I wanted to let everyone know that Conifer 1 has their shovel in the ground, and Conifer 2 has a full-blown application in with New York State, and have made struck an agreement with 2 of the property owners directly north of the Conifer 1 project. Rebecca and I are going to have a very exciting conversation about a possibility for the public space in the Conifer 2 project. And we were working with other uptown developers to get them, to get their projects looked at and to make them possible uptown. Very critical time for uptown redevelopment. Summer events, everything's in full bloom. We have full concerts, full movies in the park. Our calendar of events is up on the website. We have little bookmarks available if anybody wants them in their shop or at Village Center or Village Hall, marking the rest of our events for the rest of the year. Fireworks are for Port Jeff Village residents only, but I do love to share that, we can view them from the beaches of Belterre and also from Cedar Beach. For our residents, we'll have the usual choke down points where they're going to check for Port Jeff resident ID to allow you to advance further to the fireworks location. And I hope everybody can get down to the beach. The fireworks show where the fireworks are actually being set off, because it is high tide. Is going to force all of our viewers at East Beach to go to the easterly end of the beach. Thank God we have 80,000 cubic yards of new sand, so there should be more than plenty of beach for everybody to view. We have our new snack shack vendor. And I think it's going to be a beautiful day. Obviously, you can watch in West Beach as well, and the Harbor Hills Beach for our Harbor Hills community. As we've entered into a new budget cycle, a lot of our not-for-profits are asking for certain type of help, and we are going to try and partner with you as best we can in waiving fees and making things happen for you. And I just want to give anybody who's out there with the not-for-profit, let them know that Barbara and I are here to listen to your requests and to make things happen and to waive fees. For instance, I think the Arts Council just asked if they could do an event in a lower level of Village Hall, so raising money for partnering with the heart disease people. I can't remember, Barbara, what it was, but they asked if they could use the lower level of Village Hall to help display some of the photos that are going to be auctioned off. And we said, absolutely. So we're here to help our not-for-profit partners. I'm glad to see that a lot of the events are coming back online for a full season. Update on the Sheep Pasture Zombie Home. I've been speaking to Brian Egan and Mr. Harris. Kathy Ann's going to be completely pulled into the loop on this. I know that we have a partner with Steve Engelbright, the Historical Society. The Long Island Preservation people are on board, but we don't own the property yet, folks. We don't have rights to the property. We are currently working with the owner of that property to see if they're willing to, sell or convey, or we got to wrangle that property from them so that we can have more control. Right now, we are going to maintain that property, make sure that it stays, in as much good repair as we could possibly keep. We have a judgment against them already for $16,000 for the work that we have done to take back down the ancillary structures that were rotted out and falling down. But we will keep you posted on the advancements on that sheep pasture zombie home project. Paving projects are starting. I think they were milling in place, starting to mill in place today, and paving goes from today through the week. Is that correct, Joe?
All subject to weather.
Okay, but they started today, right? Milling in place?
I believe so.
Okay. Quality of life, we're going to focus hard on quality of life. You know, last year we had our budget. The budget just got whacked. And what I mean by that is all our soft money, we froze spending. So there's going to be a hard lean and hard focus on the quality of life issues, planting parks. We're going to try and get some more walls painted with murals. So Kathy and I, Rebecca, we're going to try and get some of that stuff done this year. And beautification projects as well. We want to work more with the Highlands on that 6 acres and see what we can do up there. And branding Port Jefferson Hard as a destination for a lifetime or a day. So I hope to get all our soft initiatives back up and running because we certainly didn't have access to the funding that we've had in prior years to do those special projects. And with that, I'm going to pass the torch to Deputy Mayor Laux to stand on Country Club business.
Thank you, Mayor. First off, I would like to thank all of the village residents for having their trust and confidence in Margot, Kathy Ann, and I. Thanking you for giving 3 of us 2 more years to help bring our village to the end of this difficult time we've been through. I have some news from the Recreation Department, the Village Center. The beaches, both east and west, will open this Friday at 10 a.m. with full lifeguard coverage. The lifeguard coverage will be there 7 days a week until 6 p.m. So that's from 10 in the morning till 6 p.m. And as I mentioned last time, the swimming area with lifeguard coverage has been moved further to the east on the new East Beach, where we have lots of sand. We have plenty of recreation programs for the summer for the youngsters. We have half and full day camps, half and full day swim programs for children aged 5 through 11, multi-sport camps for children aged 6 through 10. We have a tennis club for children aged 10 and under up at the country club. We have youth tennis programs for ages, and these are different groups, ages 3 through 6, 7 through 9, 9 through 12. These are all up at the country club. We have a teenage tennis club for teens aged 12 through 16. That's also up at the country club. There are many, many different days and sessions for these camps and programs, and they tend to fill up rapidly. So if you have children that are interested or you want them to be enrolled, I would suggest a quick call to the rec department, or you can go online directly and register for these various programs. We have a fitness and stretching program for adults 18 and older. That takes place every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's going to be at the Village Center. These programs run for 6 consecutive weeks. Additionally, we're offering beginner, intermediate, and advanced golf clinics with Jake up at the country club. These are 4-week programs, and you can also register these online or by calling the Recreation Department. The Ginny Marie Schooner is still in our harbor. You can register for a 2-hour daily sail by going to ginnymariesschooner.com. Our weekly senior citizens program is going to return this fall. We're starting on September 8th. Finally coming soon also is the return of our bus trips. If you remember, the bus trips used to go into the city to Broadway and other special places. We will be kicking that up again. Some news from the country club. Both the tennis and golf facilities are in excellent condition. We closed our fiscal year on May 31st with 284 tennis members and 595 golf members. These are the highest numbers in memberships that we've had in many years. I want to remind our non-resident members, you need to have a parking permit hanging on your rearview mirror. If you've not picked one up yet, they're still available up in the membership office. Also, all members need to have a new bag tag attached to your golf bag. If you haven't picked that up, those are in the Golf Pro Shop. Please make sure you have one on your bag. And lastly, all of our members should be checking our website because we have a good number of upcoming events. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Steve. Bruce Miller, Trustee Miller, do you have a report for us today? Bruce, you have to unmute.
I prompted him, just give him a minute and see if he opens them.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Okay, apologies. So we have been trying to make contact with Phil Ing in regards to Long Island Railroad. In a sidebar kind of development, Siemens Mobility of Sacramento, California, is going to be selling 75 new diesel electric locomotives to Amtrak. Now, there's an experimental program going on with the Long Island Railroad on the Oyster Bay line. We do not want, as was proposed, the Long Island Railroad to replace the existing diesel engines with more diesel engines. These ALC 42 diesel electric engines are both energy efficient and clean, and would lead to the possibility of a better schedule where we would not have to change at Jamaica, change at Huntington for Jamaica. And also, just very quickly, some may have noted that there have been some arrests with administrators and National Grid for taking bribes. This is continues to develop, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Bruce. Trustee Snayden, Kathy Ann.
Thanks, Mayor. I first want to echo what Trustee Laux had said, thanking the community for our team's reelection. I'm honored to be here and to serve you guys for 2 more years, so thank you for that. With code and public safety, the mayor pretty much covered everything with the recent events that happened on Saturday morning. So I'll move into things that I was doing prior to that, which was includes attending the most recent 6th Precinct community meeting down at the 6th Precinct. It was extremely informative. I want to start to understand the crime stats around the 6th Precinct's jurisdiction and what's happening in the surrounding communities, and how that all then affects us. It was very helpful. I also offered to them that they have one of their upcoming meetings hosted here in the village. They were open to that. They usually do surrounding fire departments. And I, told them that we, of course, do have our fire department here, but we also have places like the Village Center. And I think it would be great to have a larger venue and invite residents of our village, especially now with the most recent events. So stay tuned on that. I'll let you know if that happens. With the parking department, the Barnum lot continues to be very popular. We've gotten great feedback from that. Everybody's loving the counter and the EV chargers. We are continuing to look for a great location over closer to the east side for another electric charger for your vehicles. The school, with the governor's mandates being lifted, we're very happy to report that graduation will be live and in person outside with unlimited seating for families. It had been limited to only 2 tickets per child, but it is now opened up to to unlimited outside, and it looks like the weather's going to be good, so we don't have to worry about moving inside. The moving up ceremonies for the 5th grade and the 8th grade will also be outside with unlimited tickets or invites being given out to families. So we're very happy about that. And graduation is this Friday at 6 p.m. And the prom is going to be happening on Monday, and that is at the Meadow Club. And the reason for that being out of town and not at the school was because when this planning started, which happens back in early fall, we had no idea what was going to be allowed inside or outside, and the school just wasn't able to take it on this year. So it was moved over to the Meadow Club, and we're happy that it's the same owner as a local business here in the village. So there is that connection still. There was one other thing I wanted to say, but I guess that's it. That concludes my report, unless I remember what it was.
Okay, anytime. Rebecca, Trustee Cassay.
Very good, thank you. So an update on the community garden. We welcomed our 20 gardeners, or more than 20, because that's 20 plots were all filled, but we have families who are in there. We have all sorts of residents we're already meeting who are gardening. If you swing by there, you can see the deer fencing is up. There's greenery in those garden beds, and we're so excited about that project moving forward. Thank you again for all the support from the village and in all the facets that that means. We look forward to the programming that we're starting to plan. We already have 2 Cornell Cooperative Extension workshops planned for the summer. We have one on general practices for gardening and one on seed saving, and those are sponsored by the Port Jefferson Library, so the Port Jefferson Free Library. So we thank them for their partnership. Again, sign up for the garden newsletter, which you could find on the portjeff.com/community garden, and sign up there for all that information. We celebrated the beach cleanup station ribbon cutting, the first beach cleanup station. Thank you for all those who attended. And we did a little beach cleanup there. Hopefully all are enjoying and utilizing that new amenity in the village and keeping our shorelines cleaner. We're so grateful for that. And thank Relic Sustainability for their partnership for creating those beach cleanup stations. I know we're already in conversation with a few potential sponsors for stations for East Beach, West Beach, and then potentially to have a conversation about getting a station and a trash can put in at the cul-de-sac at Crystal Brook Hollow near the near the beach there, which a lot of residents came forward and said they'd appreciate having the opportunity to clean up, keep that space clean since the harbor is so active in that space. Let's see, as far as the planning board is concerned, we had a discussion about the harbor view at Port Jefferson condo complex up at Vantage Court. There was a discussion about putting a gate at the end, so it's a private road that leads up to that community, and they've been experiencing some more likely youth coming in, a little bit of vandalism, and so as the community came together and they discussed putting a gate in at towards the end of the private road there, and so they came forth to the planning board with this. There's not currently anything against it in the code, and so as of right, it's allowed. But there was some discussion as to whether or not that was sort of something that was desirable here in the village, and so just bringing that as a seed of any kind of conversation. It's just don't know how anyone feels about that. It seems like as of right, the Vantage Court will likely have that because there's nothing against it. But moving forward, if that's something that the board is not in favor of for the future communities, private communities look at that and say, we want a gate. Just looking at that, just something to think about. Okay. Yeah, I've thought about it a lot. I don't know either way if I feel strongly about it.
If they maintain the road, it's a private road.
Right.
I don't know how we can say no that they can have to have a gate. Brian, what do you think?
You know, I've had this incident happen actually on when I was the district attorney for the Fishers Island Ferry District. Fishers Island was a different place because it's got a lot of private roads on it, but it does lead to the proliferation as a precedent of blocking off a lot of these roads on private. I generally like to see these approved as a site plan in the beginning. I mean, obviously these are older communities, so the site plan is long since sailed, but we should think about what the impact is on this on precedent on other communities wanting to block off their streets as well. And the maintenance of it, what happens, do they pay the HOA dues? What if somebody hits it? You know, all of those kind of things, they become disabled, who repairs it, you know, all those kind of things. It's purely a private enterprise, but we should probably think about whether we'll permit these in the future on if they really start to proliferate.
Stan? You're muted, Stan.
You're on mute.
Stan, you're muted.
I prompted him to unmute.
There you go.
Okay, we're set.
Yep.
You have a situation where emergency vehicles, fire department, ambulance, they need entrance to these private roads. That's another consideration.
Yep.
Absolutely. There are some overrides for the technology, but again, that's a maintenance issue. You know, the homeowner is going to have to, the homeowner association is going to have to require the maintenance of it. You know, when the snow plows aren't exactly, you know, fine surgeons when they're running those snow plows up there, and that kind of stuff gets broken. So that's absolutely a concern we should think about. Thank you, Trustee Kasey, for bringing it to us to think about.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then there was some discussion about echoing from a long previous matter concerning bond amounts that didn't at 112 Brook Road, Boulder Court, which is just a technical matter. And then the board decided to move forward with 1 North Country Road as well. That was is proceeding after much discussion, public input. That looks to be continuing on its path. So that is the planning board update, and that's Trustee Miller. Do you have you have to unmute.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment. When Jefferson Landing Circle was built, there was a divider between Jefferson Landing Circle and the road that leads to Scraggy Hill Road. People did not want a lot of traffic coming through there. So basically they put up a wooden divider which permitted fire trucks and emergency vehicles to crash through without damage to their vehicles. It was very flimsy, but there was a physical wooden divider. There was a lot of blowback from the fire department that said this wasn't enough or adequate for them, and they wanted the road open. And in a subsequent mayoral administration, they got the road open, and there is no divider any longer today. So just be aware there is some history on this in Port Jefferson.
Thank you, Trustee Miller. Okay, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Rebecca. Moving on to Attorney Egan.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. I think I've spoken enough today.
Joe, Mr. Palumbo.
I just have 2 updates on projects that were ongoing here in the village. First is Village Hall bathrooms. As you know, they were under renovation for the last couple of weeks. They have been completed and are now operating for the public to use. They're, as you all know, unisex, ADA compliant, single occupant bathrooms now. So that project is complete. They look beautiful. Carter Millance was the contractor. I think they did a very nice job in there. The second is West Beach washout. There's a few punch list items left. but that has been cured. The wall has been built. Obviously, most of it's underground. There's an 8-inch curb there now where that sinkhole used to exist. The parking lot has been asphalted, and those parking spaces there are now restored. So that project is all but complete as well. And that concludes my report.
East Beach was also recently restriped, correct?
Yes.
West
And West
Beach now
Beach.
as well?
Correct.
Okay, good. I know we had gotten a complaint, but I'm glad to see beaches are looking like they're in great shape for a fantastic summer here. Treasurer or Dente, Denise, anything you want to add?
I just have a question. Do you still want, well, I'm going to suggest enforcing the spending freeze now that it's a new budget year? Are we still going to enforce that?
Well, let's discuss that. I don't know about a freeze, but let's discuss our policies and to make sure that department heads are
okay
overseeing those policies and not just having a good time.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
If you're seeing a trend,
okay,
if you're seeing something, I'll be down with Joe tomorrow morning. We can discuss that. I know I asked for the deputy treasurer to send down a warrant that I wanted to review with Joe just as a result of this. Okay, good.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. And Clerk Sakovich, Barb?
Hi, Margot. Okay, the only thing we voted before early, we had the public hearing on the ransom in. We closed the public hearing. I need a motion to approve the permit to operate the bed and breakfast.
And I know we closed the public hearing, but I know that I wanted Teresa to reach out to some of the public that were participating. They may have been late comers because of the challenges we are having today with YouTube. So Teresa, did any of the participants have a comment?
I've asked in the chat. Nobody has responded. If anybody has a question, they could raise their hand right now specifically for the ransom in, but I haven't seen any responses yet.
Okay.
Comment.
Yeah, hi, Bruce.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi. Yes.
Due to technical difficulties beyond my control, I was unable to get onto this Zoom until about 4:15. So I will be voting to abstain as I have no knowledge of the discussion that took place.
Okay, fair enough. Teresa, anyone? No questions, okay?
Nope, nobody has responded or raised their hand.
All right, so motion to approve the bed and breakfast permit for the ransom inn at 409 East Broadway. I'm sorry?
I'll second that motion.
Oh, okay. Seconded by Trustee Cassay. All in favor? Okay.
Thank you. And our next, one last thing, our next meeting is July 6th, which is the Tuesday evening due to the 4th of July holiday, and we will be in person.
So brutal. not the in-person part, after a nice long weekend. So we know what that means. We're going to need agenda items like by midweek, the week before, well, like July 1st or 2nd. We're going to try and keep that agenda short because that Tuesday coming back after a very long weekend will be jam-packed Tuesday. Okay, folks? I want to thank everybody for their hard work. I want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July if I don't see you. Barbara, have a great vacation tomorrow. Squeeze that baby granddaughter of yours.
I will. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. And Joe, you go away the week after. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And
but I'll be back. I'll be back for the fireworks.
Oh, good for you. And Denise, when are you going away?
I'm taking my daughter down in August to St. Augustine.
Okay. All right. Good. At least you guys are staggering it. I love that about you. I'll see you tomorrow morning at Village Hall. Motion to adjourn the meeting at 4:41.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, guys. Good job. See you later. Bye, Stan. Safe travels back.